Hey guys, I hope you got that email I sent out. Today is June 13th, which is my birthday, 2014, and it's about 12 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. A couple things that we're going to be talking about today in the marketplace is number one, some consolidation. But I want you to read the disclaimer. Just realize if you decide to take these trades, you're at your own risk, and that I can't control your lot size in your trading account. But these are just market analysis and trade ideas, and kind of implementing some of the trading strategies I personally use for managing accounts. The euro dollar here, we're trading right now right around 1.3532. And we're approaching the support and resistance level here, which I'm going to be very interested to see what happens here. I'm going to be looking for a reversal pattern here. This almost got there. There was a false breakout downwards, and you can see we're kind of going sideways now. So we kind of had some momentum change here with this market. So a couple things I'm going to be looking for is a support and resistance bounce trade and reversing in the upward direction. Okay. If this market does break through, I would be curious to see if it retests, then continue going hours, because we are just dropping off really quickly. Okay, um, but let's actually check out some of the other stuff on forex factory on what the euro dollar is saying. Okay, so it's a website you can refer to for your fundamental analysis. Just make sure your calendar is set right with this website here. But let's actually pull up the website and just do our fundamental analysis on the euro and what things we can expect throughout this week. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this over to the left. And so again, today is June 13th, which is Friday. Okay, so what we're going to be looking for in this market is there's a few announcements that already happened within today. So next week, what we want to see is, so we don't have to worry about the non-farm payroll. We don't have to really worry about anything about the Feds at this moment. But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty decent week this week as far as fundamentals were concerned, based on the euro. But for next week, we can check that up on Monday, so we can do our Monday analysis, of course. But as the market is about to close here within a few hours, I want to consider to be careful to even place any trades at all. And on the day chart, I'm going to be really interested to see what happens for next week. Is maybe the market is going to reverse in the upward direction. Okay, so I'm going to probably expect somewhat of a sideways market based on the left and on what's happening right now. Okay. A couple things I've noticed is there is a trend line here on the 4 hour and the day chart here. So we have a descending triangle here. Okay, but like I said, I think the more reliable trade is the reversal pattern. So we are creating a high and a lower high here, like this, and really not going anywhere. So we may have this kind of market on the right here. Okay, meaning it could break upwards and then break back down. So this would be a tough market to trade in right now. Like I said, this market is just pushing downwards. We have broken support and resistance, and this was a small trading opportunity. I hope you took it. Was the retest of this support level. So it broke out, little pips to be made there. There was your retest that we talked about, and hopefully you took some profits to the previous low. So now, I mean, this market is getting choppier as we're getting down to the bottom here. The 1 hour standpoint, like I said, trading on the upward swing, like the break of this trend line, may be not the safe type of trend line. We want to trade back in the downtrend, which we've already accomplished several times. Okay, so over here we have a support that broke down. Okay, but now we're just sitting here. Okay, you can see we're just consolidating from these two price points here. Okay, and I can be more accurate like this. So 1.3575 area, as well as the bottom 1.3517 area. Right now we're just consolidating, And like I said, if we break the low, then that may be a selling opportunity for us. We can keep our stop loss right around this general area, but like I said, it must push downwards pretty heavily for me to be interested in this market. Again, if it breaks this trend line, then I might just trade to this resistance here at 1.3575 area. So really, in this case scenario, this is just a sideways market. So you could look for a buy entry right now, keeping your stop loss behind this little swing low, and look to trade towards this trend line or even to this resistance level again. Okay, so you can see it's broken out, retested, broken out, retested. So this general facility, that's kind of what we're expecting here within Monday and Tuesday of next week. We may just consolidate. Okay. The Swiss franc is like arching up. Okay, and we've broken out. We've retested this last week, and I hope you took these trades that we did talk about. This retest trade, this resistance, and you had your retest. There was a very tight stop loss to take profit ratio. So I hope you took that trade. But now we're still uptrending, guys. So in this case scenario, it's looking to close above, but what may happen is it may come down about 50% of this market. And I would actually say you could have a pending order either at the close of the candle right here or even down to here, and having your stop loss right around here. So you're looking for a possible buy opportunity back up in the upward swing. Okay, so what are we trading in? Okay, I want to kind of walk you through that. We have a trend line like this, so we may see another bounce off this trend line area, and we may follow this upwards. This could be your stop loss area. We may be trading back up towards this price right here at 0.9124 area as the overall target for next week's projection. A couple things that we can be looking for in the 4-hour standpoint. Like I said, we've broken upwards, we're closing above, but like I said, we may filter back down in this general area right around here. Okay, I would say sitting at, to be more precise, and we did talk about a pending order right around this area. Okay, or even just right around this area is the zone. I'm going to go ahead and put in a box here for us. We're looking for a zone right around this area here that this market may pull back, and then like I said, this would be very tough to short and go short, but more or less I'm believing that this market is going to pull right around this general facility and then kick back upwards. So you can readjust this trend line like this, and it may even be a kick off this trend line. So next week, probably about a day or two, is when the market may start to pick up. So the US dollar is probably going to be gaining more strength against the Swiss franc. The 1-hour standpoint, this market has broken out and retested. You can see there's support here as well as here. So this is a general area that I'm going to be interested to see if it bounces off again. Okay, so we have 2 points of respect. I would like to see if it comes back and retests right around this general area, this X, and then coming back up to resistance. And you can use this as a short-term target. So your entry could be right around here, your stop loss maybe behind this little wick low or even behind this body right here. Okay, is where I would put my stop loss if you decide to use a limit order here. And just look to filter downwards and possibly buy upwards. So selling it could be a little dangerous in comparison to buying it, because this market may not pull all the way down. It may even buy up right around this price here, or even get to here at the most, and then create a lower high, okay, and continue the upward trend. Okay, the pound dollar from last week. So there was some good and bad news. The good news was that we talked about possibly trading downwards on a break of a trend line, like so. Okay, breaking downwards, but we also said that this was the barrier point. Okay, so there was a bounce trade off this trend line, and I hope you took it and made some profits down to this support resistance area. But now we broke upwards, and we did talk about on another video of buying it back upwards after the break of this 4-hour trend line like this. Okay, it was a little bit more tighter like that. There was a breaking candle, there was your retest, and then you can see it just kept on pushing upwards. So overall now, I mean, this actually moved up quite a bit and it's consolidating, but this is obviously an uptrend, and what may happen is we may see this kind of market movement where it pushes up quite a bit and then it filters back down like this. So next week, be careful for this market to possibly just keep on pushing upwards. If not, then you may look for some retests. So this trend line is very valid, as we talked about, that we were looking for more buy opportunities than sell opportunities based on the overall market conditions, which we did talk about this being a really strong uptrend, okay, an obvious uptrend. So we've broken out on the upward swing, but what I believe is we haven't retested this trend line that we've broken out of. We haven't come back to this general area, so this market may filter downwards, but I'm going to be basing my decision day by day based on what kind of candlestick pattern we're up against. If we have a like a pin bar, then I might be looking to sell this back down towards this trend line if that happens in this general area. Now this is the day chart, so this may happen, at the end of next week as well. But like I said, the 4-hour standpoint, we did talk about a trend line on the top. I hope you took the breakout and didn't miss out on that big move. And we also consider the 1-hour chart as the trend line entry right here on our daily projections. And we did talk about entering based on that and breaking upwards. We even sat there. We did a double bottom, wick, false break downwards, closing within, and then you can see this thing just spike upwards. So what about now? It's just consolidating. It's not really a good time to trade this. The actual move that you wanted already happened. So what we're going to be looking for is to see how the market reacts if price gets back down to here, this resistance level. So it broke out but hasn't retested. Okay, you can see on the left hand side that this is the retest area that we're going to be looking for. Okay, we can also draw another box here like so. So my point of view is this market is going to be interesting to see what happens at this price at 1.6854 area if the price does come back right around that area. But like I said, the price may not. It may just break back upwards, just what it did over here on the left hand side here. We may have that similar market movement, and then we may see these consolidation type of markets like this. Okay, so expect that similar move. Okay, we're breaking upwards, and then what we may see is look for a reversal pattern, possibly sell it off back down to support. Okay, the USD yen. Hopefully you took some of these trading opportunities from last week. Was the resistance trade trading back down towards the bottom here. So obviously there was resistance here at 102.68 on the day chart. Okay, and this obviously may not actually come all the way back down to this bottom here. What we may run into is this is the bottom now, and we may create a lower high and start to trade back upwards, as you can see on the left hand side. Okay, this market has also been on a very strong uptrend like this. Okay, so this being said, you can see we're approaching this trend line here, and I'm really going to be interested to see when price gets over here to continue the upward trend. Okay, and so this market is in that phase. So a couple trading opportunities that we can look for is possibly this triangle formation or consolidation breakout. Now, like I said, the stronger trend is up on a longer term perspective. Okay, so we may see a kickoff here to trade up to the resistance up here. So we have some distance here, depending on how this day closes. On the 4-hour standpoint, okay, as far as what we're facing is This may not be a great entry that I've got into, so I'm looking to readjust myself. What I may look for in next week's projection is a double bottom to trade back up to the upper swing. Okay, so this market may reject its price, which it looks like it's filtering right now, but it may not come all the way down. It may continue going upwards and break up towards the top here. A couple of things I'm looking at as well, if you look at it in a smaller perspective, is this market may just short-term sell, so we may see a shorting opportunity here. We had a trend line break we talked about last week, and I hope you took this. And like I said, we didn't expect this to come all the way to the bottom, but that was, again, there was the bounce trade right here to trade downwards, or the break of this trend line for a move downwards. We did talk about that. So we did talk about some struggles right around this general facility. So what I'm going to be looking for now is a continued move upwards if the bigger trend line is valid. Okay, so right now we're in a situation where that we're just consolidating here, and like I said, we may pull back downwards, but I don't believe we're going to come all the way down further than what we are at this moment. So the 4-hour trend is down. Okay, just make a note of that. But what I'm looking for is a break of this line right here. Okay, so like I said, this market may kick off of that and then break back up and then continue going upwards. So we may add a position after a break. Okay, on a 1-hour standpoint, this market is trading downwards nicely, like we expected from last week, but it's running into this resistance area here and just showing a little bit of signs of weakness. So short term, you could take a sell opportunity, keep your stop loss above this little wick high, and maybe trade it back down to right around here. Furthest target would be right around here. So we may create like a W formation for next week. All right. Okay, so but my perspective right now is I'd like to see how it reacts right here. If it decides to engulf and then break upwards, so we'll see. Okay, the Aussie dollar. I actually put this in the chat. Hopefully you are long and you're taking this trade. And the 4-hour standpoint, we're looking to trade and hold on to this trend line. So the day chart obviously has been on a strong uptrend. We had a short-term sell opportunity within last week, but now see there was a trend line here, and we also ran into something like this. Okay, so we're having this trend area here. We've broken a trend line like this, and I think this thing is going to push up and struggle at this trend line at the top here. Okay, we'll just see how the market really reacts here, but we're still on the upward trend. There's some, again, we talked about the market holding on to this price, which there was a bounce trade opportunity, but this market may get to a point where it's getting pretty exhausted. So there was some turnaround points before, back in here, and here. Okay, so this market is kind of in an indecisive stage. So I like to see again, what happens at this resistance level. If it's a double top, and we may see it to trade downwards. So if it pushes upwards, you can either look for a sell opportunity here, reversal pattern, or a neckline break, trading downwards. So we have a pretty solid trend line here as well. And I like to see how this market reacts, but as you can see, there's some wicks. So we may hold on and break and then possibly trade downwards. And because the trend is stronger on the upward swing, I would look to only target right around here. And then once the price does, if it does get to this price at 0.9315, this is where I'm going to be looking for a bounce trade. Okay, so it broke out, but it never bounced off of it and retested it. Okay, so this market may trade downwards and then struggle right around this price. That's something I'm going to be interested in. The 1 hour standpoint just shows us that we are slowly, gradually going up to this resistance level here. So we have a low and a higher low, but overall, like I said, this market has trended up quite some time. So we may see a little bit short-term sell opportunity. You could wait for a break of this low here to sell off, trend down to support here at 0.9315 area. Okay, let's actually see if that lines up with the area here. Yeah. So right around this area here, you can see that it was resistance, active support. We had a false break there, and then now we're in this phase where we could break downwards and trade down to the support level. Okay, the US CAD, it's kind of doing the exact opposite of the Aussie dollar. So let me actually walk through this with you. So clean chart. What we may be in is the triple bottom. Okay, so we may be triple bottoming a little like this, like that. And so once this market does push upwards, we may start to trade upwards. And we have some distance. I mean, this thing could, depending on how this candlestick closes, if it closes like that, then I'm going to be really interested to buy this pair upwards if we do have a doji here. Okay, and that's kind of like a same level of wick and a higher close. Another way to look at this market is we've already broken this trend line here, and so in a way this is kind of the X that we're looking at, and we may just start to trade upwards. And let's see how this market has reacted before. So we've had a really strong uptrend, and meaning that this market may still be on a strong uptrend. So we've kicked off here. We have not retested here at 1.0574 area. Okay, so we've never retested there. So I'm going to be curious to see if this price even holds. If it doesn't, this might be a great selling opportunity to trade back down to here. Okay, so it's pushed downwards like this, but it may false break upwards. The 4-hour standpoint, like I said, this market may just chop up and really struggle. I like to see if it struggles right around here. Okay, so this would be like the head and shoulder pattern. But like I said, I'm going to be curious to see if we have a breakout trade like this, a break of this low right here. But if this is a higher low, then we may just trade upwards. So short term, I'm looking for this to trade up to here as my target. But if we start breaking, and depending on how it looks, then I might like to continue to buy this pair upwards. We have a trend line like this, so a break in this price could be another reason to get in. The 1 hour standpoint is pretty much the same idea, is you can either use a 1 hour standpoint for your buy break command, but we're going sideways, guys. So like I said, this is usually Fridays. Typically this is when the market starts to close and we don't really see that much action going on, but we've pretty much trended downwards, kind of a high and a low. So we had this trend line break opportunity that I hope you took advantage of. Kind of broke and then retested really quickly and then filtered downwards. But now I'm going to be interested to see what happens with this trend line. This is an interesting trend line. The fact that it's going back into the overall day trend, which is up, and so that's something I'm going to be excited about if this trend line is valid. And then right now my valid stop loss level is right around this general area at this moment. The euro dollar, I'm basing this trade based on the day chart, and I did not wait for the close. Couple things is we have downtrended for quite some time, but expecting the euro to recover from this week's down push. So we have kind of like this, and we're really just like I said, if this is the bottom of this area, then we'll have a bounce trade here. So it's sitting right around this area here. You can see on the left hand side it's really struggling. We had a lot of sellers come in from today, but like I said, this market is tempted to trade back up to this as my overall target, which would be right around here. Okay, I think that would be a general target for right now for the longer term traders. The 4-hour standpoint, like I said, we bounced off this area here. We can see it was support on the back end here. Okay, and then simply I'm looking for a recommitment, which, like I said, I got in right here. So I've been in this for a little bit of time because I'm deciding to swing trade it, and you always want to plan your stop loss and your take profit and so on and so forth. So right now, if you're not in already, what you could do is just wait for the break of this high here as the buy break opportunity and look to trade this back up towards this trend line or this resistance level here. So we have a lot of room to go if it does. So this would be kind of like a short-term head and shoulder pattern, kind of like this right here, double bottom. So we'll see how this market reacts here for next week. The 1-hour standpoint is pretty much the same idea. Like I said, this market is slowing downwards. So next week I'm going to look for the opportunity for this market to possibly trade back upwards. And I'm just drawing this line like this, and like I said, we've broken this trend line. So there was 7 reasons to get in as far as the buy opportunity. You could have had a buy opportunity based on this trend line, stop loss there, and looking to trade this upwards. This might be a lower high here. So that's something that we got a question for next week. But like I said, if you're not in already, you're looking for that recommitment, which we've broken higher than this high. So that is an indication that this may be a great buy opportunity right now, and we can have a pretty tight stop loss. So if we have a pretty bullish candle right here, then that would be a great entry point, having this be your stop loss level, and look to carry this all the way up to right around 139.55, which is about, from the distance of my trade to 157 pips or so. Okay. And obviously you don't want to overtrade, you don't want to put too many trades in, but hopefully you're taking advantage of those opportunities that we've discussed. The pound yen, let's actually look back here. Like all the yens are on this really strong uptrend, as you can see. And you can see that this market has respected this trend line like this. So looking at this point of view, this trend line is very, very strong. What we could look for is this market to really hold this price and then let it break for our exit strategy. Here what we've seen is the breakout itself of this bigger kind of a triangle formation, as you can see, based on the day chart. So like I said, this thing has been uptrending for this long time. Okay, so there was some massive breakout trade like this one right here. I mean, if you took that trade, that was almost 1,300 pips with this market, and then we kind of consolidated. So we squoze in, we've broken out again, and this market may just rush upwards. So really my take profit is conservative at this moment. You could actually take this upwards some distance. Okay, maybe you can keep it even up to here. But I am long, and this price right here we may pull downwards, and this is the pound yen, guys, so you want to consider having a smaller lot size. So a couple things I'm just concerned about is, let's actually show you on the 4-hour standpoint, is we've broken up some distance, so we may see a pullback just right around this general area here. So if you're not in already, we could look for a possible pullback trade. Okay, and that means that you don't want to short it, you're just looking for a reversal pattern in this general box area. So there might be a reversal pattern right on this trend line or 172.46 area. This could be the reversal short term, and then respecting these trend lines as an engulfing pattern to trade back up to the upward swing. The 1-hour standpoint, like I said, this market is slowing downwards, but I got in based on the close, and so I'm in. But this market may consolidate a little bit, just like how it did over here, then break. So, like I said, this market is in a way where we could leave our stop loss behind these closes right here, saying that this is a stronger trend based on this swing low and this swing low. Really, the ultimate candles that you were looking for within this week were right here. So there was a sell opportunity based on exhaustion. Here was a double bottom here. That was an indication of a buy opportunity. Or even this engulfing pattern candle was the buy opportunity that you could have took advantage of this week. Okay, there was a request for the Euro CAD here. So the day chart for this week has just dropped, and so we're still following this trend line as well as this trend line, and we're just looking for more reasons to sell this. So if this market does pull back because it's broken lower here, okay, like this, I'm looking to trade back down to this level right here at 1.4435 area. So you could sell this off and leaving your stop loss right there. Okay, really tight stop loss and take profit ratio. 4-hour standpoint, if we pull this a little closer here, like I said, it's broken out. We are engulfing here, so this could be the great selling opportunity that you're looking for. And like I said, just make sure your money management's in check. So here was the entry. Our stop loss could be right here. And your take profit is down here. And you can even wait for this close, which is going to happen in 2 hours from now, for this market to close, and then we can look for the sell opportunity for next week. If you're not around, you can use Magic to help you with this closing opportunity. You can put it right here as a sell break. The 1-hour standpoint, again, we've pushed downwards for quite some time. Here's your pullback. So one thing to consider that I'm going to be looking at, and I'm going to just go ahead and readjust this where I feel more comfortable, okay, is this market going to do another test? Meaning that this is the limit order, and then this is your stop loss behind this little swing point right here. So we came up, we've rejected it, but this market may pull back to here and then continue going downwards. Okay? The Euro Pound has already taken off. I really hope you took this trade here. Again, this would be the sell break command that we're talking about. Here's your break, your stop loss there, and you can see this thing just run. The day chart, we did talk about reasons to sell this as the trend line on the top. Here was the bottom here that was broken, so you could enter on this candle to get this movement, or simply take that one trade with the triangle trade right here, okay, the wedge. So there was a little bit more pressure downwards. Here was your entry, stop loss there, like I said, take a profit, and you can go ahead and close that position out. The 1-hour chart just shows that we're pushing downwards slowly now. So, you know, what about next week? Next week we may just consolidate and then maybe even go long on this pair because we've pushed down so much. That's something to consider. So like I said, the euro and the pound may start to push upwards. Okay, and the euro getting faster strength than the pound. or the pound losing strength against the euro. So here again, like I said, we may reverse, but wait for the market to close. And so what you could do is look for a buy opportunity on the close against this close. So this would be a buy break scenario. And we're just filtering downwards, as you can see. So I mean, you can, if you want to, the breakout trade right here, you can move your stop loss, and then if it closes above this area, then you want to close out your trade. So you want to lock in your profits either way. The Aussie yen. Now this one again is going to be based on the yens and where they're going. So we've kicked upwards quite some distance, and I mean, just a beautiful trend line, guys. Couple things is we've broken out of this trend line, and we may just hold on. What I'm expecting is some chop. We may see a little bit of pullback right around here at this price right here to hold, and for this market to continue to move upwards. The 4-hour standpoint, like I said, this market is just been trending upwards, but like I said, it may meander downwards and then kick back up. The 1-hour chart, it's consolidation and really not too much going on here, but just top and bottoms, top and bottoms. So this market may meander back up to the top here, but we're consolidating. If we break the low, you want to look for a short-term sell opportunity. That's fine, but in this kind of condition right now, we've obviously shown an upward trend on the 4-hour and the 1-hour. Okay, we broke a 1-hour trend line here, even the 4-hour trend line. The market has not reversed, but you can see that we're just going sideways completely. Okay, so right now, as far as the Aussie dollar is or Aussie yen is concerned, it's just not a good time to trade. It's a market that you want to just stay away from and look for the breakout. Okay guys, well I hope you enjoy this video. Like I said, I'll do an update on Monday for you and help you do some market projections then. Take care.